And I've worked with many creative directors and branding experts and marketing agencies in conjunction with many projects. But working with you has been so much fun, so creative, so out of the box, and so successful. And I think it's partly to do with your professional background, because it's very long and very diversified, and I think it's of value for you to talk about where you came from and where you are today.
Thank you, Fran. We feel the same. Basically what's interesting about my background is it crosses the line. I started out first 10 years working for the biggest ad agencies in New York, mostly at Ogilvy, doing television commercials for Crest toothpaste and American Express and Huggies diapers. And there, of course, you learn what a strategy is, because everything lives or dies by a strategy. And then I shifted over to the other side. One of my clients, I started my own agency after that, and one of my clients was a biotech, and you and I worked on that as well. And they asked me to come aboard as director of marketing. So suddenly I had to take focus from both sides, and I think that's really the melding of the two. I think really produced what I call now a MindPrint, and that's what I named the company now is MindPrint Marketing. And that's
right. It's a great name, actually, and it invokes a lot of visual and emotional response. But tell me a little bit about the name of the company. Why MindPrint Marketing? What does that mean?
Right. So I think the best way to explain it is really with an example. And maybe I'll start with something that we worked on together. We worked on a company called Oral CDX, and it's very interesting because here you have a product that can actually prevent cancer. And I have to define that, because in our world, usually people talk about the early prevention of cancer, and that's a great thing. God forbid someone gets, a call from a doctor and says, it's just at the beginning, we can do something now, that's great. But we're talking about prevention, meaning you never get cancer, and that's a very rare category. In fact, there's, if you think about it, there's something, a colonoscopy, which finds polyps and removes them. That's preventing cancer. Removing those polyps means you'll never get cancer. A pap smear prevents cervical cancer. So when you come to a dentist and you say, hey, I got this little brush. If you see a spot in your mouth, you turn the brush and you could find precancerous cells, have them painlessly removed, and your patient will never get cancer. You would think, wow, this doctor will be jumping for joy. I have this advanced technology to save my patients. Well, guess what? That's where a MindPrint comes in. You have to be realistic. You have to validate their emotions, and then you have to solve it. And their emotions were, I am afraid to bring up this subject in my office. It's bad enough that I have to drill their teeth. They freaked out. And so because of that MindPrint, and that was the barrier, right? MindPrint, to answer your original question, is the emotional barrier. So they had this emotional barrier. They're too afraid to bring it up. So what we did is basically we did a campaign, ran it digitally and outdoor. It's tiny. I'll show this to you now. It says it's tiny now. Don't let it grow up to be oral cancer. See your dentist. In other words, we had to overcome their fear by sending patients to their office. And the patients came in there and said, doctor, I heard that you have this great new technology. And all of a sudden the guy's saying, oh, wait a second. I was afraid to bring it up, and they're afraid that I don't have this. So we turned the tables on them. We sent people there, and that's how we overcame it. And that really is a definition of a MindPrint. You have to just validate what the emotional barrier is and address it. So that's a great example that we worked very successfully on together.
Yeah, and it was a pleasure, and truly I saw how it all unfolded. It was great.